The crypto market is crashing, but the next big crypto catalyst is coming, and I can prove it. Nobody seems to be speaking about this, but it's coming. And if it's anything like our last two catalysts, this could skyrocket the Bitcoin price over 70%, over 44%. The last catalyst was the Genius Act. The catalyst before that was the ETFs combined with the Bitcoin halving. And this is bigger. This catalyst is bigger than just Bitcoin, bigger than stablecoins, because it affects the entire crypto market. And for example, this was just announced. This crypto news is huge. The XRP spot ETF goes live tomorrow. It will launch on the NASDAQ. That's going to be massive for XRP holders. If you hold XRP, you like this. But this catalyst is bigger because right now, Google searches for crypto have bottomed. There is zero retail interest in crypto right now. It feels like a bottom, not the top. Of course, that's when you want to buy or continue to dollar cost average into an asset when it feels like a bottom, when nobody is talking about the asset that you believe in. And so what is this upcoming catalyst, and truly how big could this be? Because to put this in perspective, in hindsight, it's not a mystery why Bitcoin has led this bull run thus far. Look at this. In 2024, we had the Bitcoin ETF approval combined with the Bitcoin halving, meaning Bitcoin was the narrative back then, and it makes sense why Bitcoin was catalyzed, why it pumped. At the beginning of 2025, when the presidential election happened, Solana was really the only altcoin that pumped at the time, and that's because literally the president of the United States launched a meme coin on Solana. So again, I get it. I understand why Bitcoin pumped, was the market mover in 2024. I understand why Solana had its moment at the beginning of 2025, and then all we've had thus far as a catalyst for 2025, which has happened, which was huge, which is huge, is the Genius Act, the stablecoin bill. What companies have done the best thus far? Many companies are doing horribly in 2025 due to macro conditions, but what companies have done well?
We had a very strong quarter, as you noted. Revenue grew 66% year over year to $740 million.
This is the CEO of Circle, which is the company behind USDC stablecoin, on CNBC this morning.
We obviously saw an enormous increase in the usage of stablecoins on our network. So USDC usage on blockchains, grew to $9.6 trillion of volume in the quarter. That's up from 5.9 in the prior quarter and up, I believe over 600% year over year. But across the board, what we are seeing is the technology has been advancing rapidly. We're making some major moves in the technology space that happened also in the quarter, which we can talk about. And companies all over the world are diving in.
And all I'm trying to illustrate is that catalyst, the passing of the Genius Act, the stablecoin bill, after it happened, it allowed huge adoption. It allowed a wave of money to flow in, stablecoins to explode in a good way, just like the catalyst of the Bitcoin ETF approval and the Bitcoin halving allowed a huge wave of capital and attention and inflows to flow into Bitcoin. So you could say these catalysts don't really matter, but we've seen over and over and over again that they matter. And they matter in a very big way. And that's not to say, okay, the Bitcoin catalyst, the ETF approval happened and Bitcoin is done. No, it unlocked a huge new on-ramp for money, new pools of money, institutional money to finally flow in. But the Bitcoin story is not done. As you can see, Bitcoin continued as this whole crypto space continued to mature. And I'm also not saying that stablecoins are done. Oh, stablecoin catalyst happened. They had 2 amazing quarters in a row, huge explosion of growth. I'm not saying it's done. In fact, if we look at the on-chain data, that's what Altcoin Daily does. We bring you perspective. We bring you data so you can make the best decision for you as a crypto investor. It's completely free. Click subscribe if you're getting value. Click subscribe if you want an edge in this market. We drop videos like this every single day. But look at this. Total stablecoin market share continues to grow. And Ethereum dominance, this is interesting. Ethereum dominance continues to grow. A couple months ago, 4 to 6 months ago, this was around 49-50%. Now it's 55. Solana's market share seems to be increasing as well a little bit. Tron's market share seems to be decreasing. But point is, just because the catalyst happened doesn't mean the story's over. Stablecoins will continue to get better. Stablecoins will continue to get better. And that's really good for those chains. And Jeremy Allaire believes on CNBC, he's about to explain why this stablecoin story is getting bigger, why this number, stablecoin adoption, will be in the trillions. And guess what? Once that money, trillions, flow into stablecoins, they don't go back to TradFi. A portion of it just stays in stablecoins to earn yield, and then it starts to go into other blockchain products. That's the on-ramp. Stablecoins are the Trojan horse. That's the on-ramp, and they're only getting bigger. Watch this.
Stablecoin money is safer money, and stablecoin money will become the most desirable money to borrow, and credit markets will develop all around the world around borrowing and using this form of money. And so I believe that there's actually a tremendous opportunity to reinvent the credit delivery system, to move away from some of the risk-taking inherent in banking and move to something that is actually a safer form of credit delivery than we have today.
And now understanding all that, the catalysts matter. Catalysts matter, and this one's bigger. What is the next catalyst, and just how big could it be? Also, by the way, I do have to say, very proud, Altcoin Daily did just sign on a new exchange partner, Coinw. They are very well respected in the space. And you can make more money trading crypto with exchange partner Coinw. Use code AltcoinDaily to score big. I'm going to put this link down below. Sign on, try it out. It takes a couple minutes. And use code AltcoinDaily, which gives you access to the full live order book, all the indicators, all the trading tools that the pros use, as well as access to copy trading, ETFs, and much, much more. They just celebrated 8 years in the industry. Link down below, use code AltcoinDaily. Highly recommend you check it out, because what's coming is the Clarity Act, the market structure bill, and what the Genius Act did for stablecoins. I mean, we saw what happened after the catalyst, the growth of companies like Circle. The market structure bill will do for the industry, crypto. This is breaking news from prediction market Polymarket. Polymarket predicts the U.S. government shutdown will end today. This is a live look on Polymarket, a 65% chance the government shutdown ends today, 35% it ends tomorrow, meaning it's either today or tomorrow. And I like going to Polymarket because they do have a great track record to check the odds. Truly, when something is projected to actually happen. Now, the Market Structure Bill Clarity Act was supposed to pass in October, but then the government shutdown happened. The government being shut down was the only thing stopping it. I mean, remember this clip from crypto czar David Sachs.
Clarity started in the House, and so it has passed the House, and now it's going to the Senate. And they still have to do their hearings and markup on it. And we expect that'll happen over the next couple of months. In fact, the chairman of the Senate Banking Committee, Tim Scott, has said that he wants to finish with the market structure legislation by the end of September. So if all goes well, then we could be looking at a second bill signing in, say, October.
And again, one of the tools in my toolbox that I like to use, go back to Polymarket. We see that while the government shutdown will likely end either today or tomorrow, maybe it's already over by the time you're watching this, the Clarity Act being signed into law this year in 2025, 33% chance, and that's actually down 37% chance from a couple months ago. And the reason the odds went down is because the government was shut down. There's nothing you can do with a shut down government in terms of passing regulation, but now things have changed. And people aren't really talking about this anymore. We used to talk about it all the time. You could argue that we still do, but the mainstream media, vastly silent. And you can see this in other things too. Epstein, the media used to talk about that all the time. Trump, for some reason, didn't seem to like that. The government shutdown ended all those conversations. So it's not specific to the Clarity Act, but the Clarity Act is significant. And again, if you think the Clarity Act will be passed, because there's only a 33% chance on the prediction market, if you put in $100, you could win $286 if you think it's going to be passed. And here's the latest update. Genius Act and Clarity Act in one single sheet. We see for the Genius Act, which was already signed into law, they had bipartisan support in the Senate, 50 Republicans as well as 18 Democrats in favor, and in the House, 206 Republicans and 102 Democrats in favor. Crypto regulation was wanted by both sides, so it was clearly signed into law. That was the Genius Act. And where we are with clarity, we had bipartisan support in the House. It's now progressing in the Senate. Government shutdown is about to end. I would expect a reversal for charts like this, like we've seen many times before. And again, anything can happen in cryptocurrency. I cannot see the future. It is very possible that crypto dips for the next 1 to 2 to 3 months in this chop solidation, especially if we get confirmed closure under this 50-week moving average. If that happens, is it the end of the world? No, because the regulation we are seeing, we saw chop solidation after the Bitcoin halving. Was this a time to get out, or was this a time to reaccumulate? After the presidential election, crypto president, Solana meme coin, was this a time to get out? Well, if you can time the market, then obviously go ahead and time the market. Most of us can't. This was a time to hold or reaccumulate. To me, this is not a 1-year game. This is a 4, 5, 6, 10-year game. And every single day, Altcoin Daily drops a video to keep you informed. Ongoing story, so click subscribe. And like always, see you tomorrow. Appreciate you.